Okay. I think we're dealing with a whole bunch of problems, and there's a bunch of things that I think we could probably agree on. Mm-hmm. One of the things we can agree on is all these mass shootings are horrific.
Absolutely.
They're terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
It's an evil, terrible thing that, here's another thing, no N.R.A. members are doing that. That's one of the things that's really kind of fucked up about people getting angry at the N.R.A.
Yeah.
We've never had a mass shooting ever.
That I can recall that was done by an N.R.A. member?
I looked. I tried to find one. I can't find a mass shooting that was perpetrated by an N.R.A. member.
And I think it's so the biggest problem that a lot of gun owners, especially N.R.A. members, have is like the conversation that's being had is basically coloring or actually forgetting the human element behind those three letters. Mm-hmm. Like the N.R.A. isn't like this demigod that just sits in the cloud of Olympia and then there's just one big guy that just is orchestrating this entire thing. Yeah. You're talking 5 million people. Yeah. Right? Like I'm a member. I'm a gun owner, right? That's who I am, along with 5 million other people who are that way. And then there are a ton of other people who think they're N.R.A. members and aren't. And then a ton of other people who probably don't mind being N.R.A. members. They just haven't gotten around to doing it and getting a membership. Yeah. And the vast majority of those people, and I'm saying that just to be safe, they're good people.
I think there's quite a few good people. The people that have perpetrated all these mass shootings are definitely not good people. But what's wrong with them? Well, I'll tell you what's not wrong with them. Guns. It's not guns that are wrong with them. Mm-hmm. They use the guns to express what's wrong with them. You know, and everybody wants to look at the object, which I get.
What's easier?
Well, it is easier, and it's something that everyone's pointing to. Like, why do you need an AR-15? Mm-hmm. Why do you need a this? Why do you need a that? These are good questions. Why do you need these things? Why do I need that fucking samurai sword over there? I don't. Yeah. You know, it's like, what do you need?
Yeah. Okay. And that's another thing, too, though. Like, and I've said it before, I think we are a victim of our own success in this country, right? I do think this is the greatest country in the world. But the problem with that is this country was built on an ideological foundation that I think it aids in that our ability to be as great as we are. But we live in a world now where people don't see the necessity for something that was never supposed to be seen through the lens of necessity in the first place. The Second Amendment doesn't give me a right. It preserves something that already existed. But what happens is we have a culture of people who look at the Second Amendment as a privilege. Not a right. They look at it as a privilege. So that's why they say, well, why do you need that? Well, why do you need more than 10 rounds? Why do you need this? Why do you need that? And I'm like, first of all, we're framing the entire conversation under need when that's not what the Second Amendment is about. It's a right that I've already had. It's a natural right that I had the moment that I stepped foot on this earth as a person. The right to self-defense is universal.
Yeah, and people say, okay, it's a right, but obviously there's a problem, so we have to do something about it, so you're going to have to give up your guns. This is the common conversation, and it's very flippant, and it's not well thought out, and there's no consideration whatsoever to mental health issues. Mm-hmm. I think I think that's the primary problem. Yeah. I've been saying this from the get-go. I think it's the primary problem. I think it's a mental health issue. And people say, oh, that's simplifying it. I don't think it is. No. I think it's the opposite. I think it's ignored. Yeah. Look, there's something wrong when you have this many people on mental health medication, and then when you look at the number of mass shooters, it's almost universal. Almost every single one of them is on some sort of psychiatric medication. But that's not a part of the narrative. Yeah. That's not a part of the conversation. The conversation is always get rid of guns. Now, I don't want crazy people to have guns, and I don't think you do either.